Yeah, hello guys. So in previous video we basically discussed about JSX attributes and why did we use this class name keyword instead of writing class directly and everything about that. And basically if you haven't watched that video, please do watch it because it will give you idea about what JSX attributes are and why do we use them and everything. And right now what we can do, we can go ahead with the major concept of React, and that is what we call components, because everything inside React works around only on the component. Means for every work we are going to do or anything we are going to display over the browser, we just create a separate component for it, and then we can then we use that component to display anything. But again, going to that part that we will be going in that we will be discussing in the next video. In this particular video I want to discuss about the concept of importing and exporting modules, because and that is necessary, because basically what happens when you create components, you just create those component into a separate files, and means each file contains a separate component, and you just export that component to use to into a particular file. So again, that importing and exporting module is you should have an idea about that importing exporting concept. Only then you can create your component. Means you can import your component or export your component to different files to use them. So basically in this video let's discuss about this importing exporting module concept, and then we can move forward in the next video, and we will be discussing that major concept of how to create what is the need of components, and what are components basically, and why do we need them, and how to create components, and everything we will be discussing in the next video. So just right now, basically in last video what we did, we basically created a variable and assigned a value to it, and that value was our channel name, and we basically printed the channel name over the browser. So the same thing we are going to do right now, again in this video, but from using the concept of this import export module. Means we are going to create a new file, and that file will be containing and containing a function, and that function will be returning the channel name. So that function we will be importing here, and from that function, accessing that function, we will be assigning the value to this variable and then displaying the. So same thing we are going to do, but from different perspective, like by creating module and exporting then and and importing to the particular file. So that will give us the idea about how import and export module works. So basically what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to create a new file, and that file will be returning our channel name. So I can give it like cname, and that will be a JavaScript file, of course, because that we are going to write a function inside it, and that function we can give it any name to the function, but I generally prefer giving the same name as the file name, if our because it basically kind of similar syntax, you can say, or basically helps us to find out like whatever the file is all about. And again, so right now what we can do, basically we are going to return the function, sorry, channel name. So that is web roadmap, and again, what we can do, we can, yeah, so there's the now the point you should note, and you can make a note here, like how to export a particular module, or you can say function. So to export this function, basically we are going to write this way: export default, and what we call sorry, default spelling is not correct. Yeah, export default, and whatever the function name you have given. So basically I'm returning the same function using this cname, and this cname is now referring to this complete function. So now we can we basically exported this function using this cname variable, and again now this variable can be used anywhere inside any other file, and we can by accessing that variable we can particularly access this function right now. So how can we access this function from other file? Let's see this. See that. So again, now since we want to use this function into our index.js, so what we can do, we basically have to use this file to access this variable. So to access this variable, we have to import this file first. So how do we write the complete syntax, or you can say statement? So import statement will be there, but again we are not going to directly import this file like this way, because we have to use this particular cname variable here. So how can we import this right now? We can import in this way, like sorry, cname and from basically the file. So we are accessing that file first. So that file is in the same directory. So that file is .js file .cname, and we are accessing that cname variable. So that cname is now referring to this particular function, you can say. So ultimately we are accessing the function from this cname variable. And again, like you can say, you can write .js, or you can leave it as it is, because since now from ES6 onward, onwards, it is not mandatory to give the file extension. So both syntax are acceptable. Like you can either write .js, or it is up to you whether you write it or not. So we can leave it like the way it is. And again, now if I save this file, so again it is showing me the like cname is defined but never used. So we haven't used this variable, means we haven't called that function from cname file to anywhere inside this particular file. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to use this function by using this cname. So cname is basically referring to this function. So now we can use this function here, and we can assign the value to this x. And now if try to print that, so let's see what happens now. So let me first save all the files. And yeah, right now if I save this particular file and I run it, so you can see I'm not getting my channel name. Still I'm not getting my channel name. Welcome to my channel, and I pass the value of x, and but again I didn't get my channel name. But since cname is referring to this function, and function is returning the channel name, so I must get this channel name here. But what has happened now? Why I didn't get this particular channel name here? Because what is happening, basically cname is referring to a function here. Means cname is basically referring to a complete function. So cname is also a function right now, though it is a variable that is referring to a function, but ultimately it is a function only. So you are basically assigning a function to a variable. So variable is also becoming a function now. So you can see that all the functions are highlighted in green in inside this particular theme. Functions generally highlighted in this green color. So you can see x is also x is also now a function, because it is in green now, because you have assigned a function to a function, means variable. So this variable has also become a function. So that is why it is not printing anything, because you haven't executed that function anywhere. Means you just call that function, and you assign that function to a particular variable. So what we do to execute a function inside the JavaScript, we basically add this parenthesis. So by adding this parenthesis, we are going to basically execute this function now. So first we are going to execute this function, then we are going to assign the value. So once the function executes, then the function is going to return that channel name, and that then the channel will be channel name will be assigned to this variable x. So now you can see x has become a x has become it is in now white color, because now it is not a function anymore. It is particular variable that you have you are giving some value right now. So again, now if I save my code and run my this particular page, now you can see I've got the channel name here. So that is the concept you should keep in mind, like how can you export a particular function, and what basically this variable is going to refer. So variable is going to refer basically the function, complete function. So whenever you call this function inside a particular using this variable, so just keep in mind, if you are going to assign directly to a particular variable, so the variable is also going to be a function until and unless execute this function. So to execute this function, we write this way. So now we got this value. So this was the concept all about, like importing and exporting modules. Now from next video onward, we will be discussing about component concept, and there we will be basically exporting and importing different components to different files. So that is why I wanted to make this video in between. Means we could have directly started the we could have jumped from this JSX attribute to directly to that component part. But again, while moving to that component parts and discussing about everything, again again we will have to we will be getting idea about this importing and exporting concept there. So instead of discussing all of the things there, I thought just I could discuss it here, so it will be a clear concept. And now what we can do, we can directly discuss about how to create components and everything, because at that time while discussing that component component part, we will not be, we will not have to be worry about all kind of this, importing and exporting concept, because we already be knowing about it, like how these importing exporting module works. So right now we can go ahead with the component part, and we can directly create our very first component. We can execute that. So because ultimately what happens in the end, you have to export that particular component to other file to execute it. That is why it is this particular module is required to have an idea about. So thank you, and let's meet in the next video, where the first major concept of React we will be discussing about, that will be components. And again, thank you, and let's meet in the next video. Goodbye.